I think a lot of teachers, pastors, artists don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole because a lot of reasons. One reason is, well, what new can you say about this? It's halfway meaningful, you know? Right. And they don't stop and say, what are the roots that are feeding this? And there are dozens of them: fear and greed and lust and prayerlessness and unbelief and being unwilling to suffer, and pastors can get all over that. Artists can get all over that. You don't need more statistics up here and just talking about, okay, what's happening, how bad is it, but rather, where's it coming from? And that's what the gospel and the Bible, it's just all over the Bible, roots of these kinds of sins. Whether it's racism or whether it's abortion, if you go beneath the actual phenomenon, it can be talked about forever.
Yeah, and there's a lot of discussion going on right now in the country about racial justice and the events that happened in Ferguson and New York City, and it's ongoing. And it's caused a lot of demonstrations, but a lot of quiet conversations and so on and so forth. Where does the sanctity of life issue and the racial issue, how do they come together for you? What's the cross points?
Oh my, I'm tempted to go in 3 or 4 different directions. You got to start with the fact that if Jesus is Lord, he's Lord over life. Life lived relationally, horizontally, with every tribe and tongue and people and nation for whom he bled, and life related to your children that you beget, which you should love with all your heart. So the gospel trains us in godliness in those horizontal and depth family and community relationships. There's a message of wholeness and life and peace and justice and beauty. It's rooted in who Christ is in living and dying and rising for us. That's the necessary place to start, that the gospel is the foundation of racial harmony, racial peace, reconciliation, and the gospel is the foundation of overcoming all the selfishness that tempts me to take my child's life. But here's something that I think is almost as immediately relevant, because I think if the church doesn't speak with conviction and with power from the pulpits about both of these issues, then neither of them will make the progress that they should. And when I talk to people about why abortion is not addressed, and I did recently at this confab we had in Nashville, which was on race, and yet abortion came up, and some people thought that, well, we do fine with abortion, we don't do well with race. And I thought, excuse me, we don't do well with either of these. Right. We don't do well with either of these. And when I asked some young pastors who have thriving churches, so why aren't the pastors around you addressing this like you do? And there are reasons like abortion is kind of a white, middle-class Republican issue. Race is cool. It's more PC. So to address that, now, it would be exactly opposite depending on where you are. But there's some young pastors who don't want to touch abortion for that reason. Others who don't want to touch race for that reason. And I think what I tried to do for 18 years was take that providence of January, Martin Luther King birthday, Sanctity of Life Sunday. They have to come back to back. Right. God did that. Right. Nobody did it. God did that. So here you got a Republican issue and a Democratic issue. And if a pastor, my point is, a pastor can free himself from any kind of partisan accusation. Oh, you're just right wing, you're just Republican, or you're just Democrat, you're just lockstep with the black community or whatever. No, I'm not, because I'm going to offend you on one Sunday, I'm going to offend the others on the other Sunday, because I'm a kingdom guy. Yeah. I'm a kingdom guy. So I just long for those two issues to just go right together in the preaching of the pastors. I just think it would give incredible authenticity to many churches and many pastors if they got serious about both issues together, rather than choosing, well, we'd be an anti-abortion church, and we'd be an anti-racism church. Yeah. Let's just be pro-life wholeness relationally, and pro-life wholeness with our little ones in our wombs.